up, everybody? It's your boy Kenny bringing you a solo spoiler review today, y'all. Make sure you drop a like, make sure you drop a comment, and make sure you're smashing that subscribe button. It always helps the show out immensely, and we're trying to grow this awesome community that has been growing so much lately. We're hitting like a big old surge out there in the multiverse of fandom. So if you love what we're doing around here, make sure you click all the buttons and all that good jazz. And if you're joining us for the very first time, welcome. We break down everything in the multiverse of fandom, whether that's anime, movies, TV shows, comic books, album reviews, you name it, we talk about it here on the channel. We're going to be expanding and doing a lot more new content leading into the end of the year, going into 2023. So make sure you click subscribe and all that good jazz so you don't miss any of it. Hashtag more cowbell, all that good jazz. But with no further ado, it's time to get into the latest topic of today, the main topic that we are going to be discussing, which is Star Wars' latest animated series, which is sort of a hybrid of like a serialized story mixed with an anthology that does center around two particular Jedi and Sith, if you will, over the course of the 6 episodes, and it focuses on Count Dooku and Ahsoka Tano, and I'm talking about Dave Filoni's latest, not greatest per se, but his latest series, Tales of the Jedi, which does center on the descent into the dark side from Count Dooku's perspective, and it also goes over the origins and the very beginnings and a couple side quests of Ahsoka Tano in her Jedi days and all that, leading into the early days of the Empire, post Order 66. So you do get a lot of interesting stuff right there, and I didn't have exactly high expectations going into this particular series, but I dug the trailers and liked the concept when they did announce this several months ago, earlier this year. So I figured, why the hell not? I'll check it out once I get a chance after it drops. And as y'all know that have been on the channel here lately and have been sticking around with us, and especially for you day oneers out there, y'all know in the last 2 months we've been hella busy around here. Tons of content dropping between all the spooky season stuff, Andor, House of the Dragon, all this other shit. Tons of stuff was dropping all at once, so we've been covering all that goodness. So I didn't get to Tales of the Jedi right away, so I had to wait until this particular week when I had a chance to sit down and watch all 6 episodes, and in total it's about an hour and a half, hour 45 minutes altogether, all 6. They're like about 15 to 20 minutes a piece, so that's kind of nice. You can kind of get in, watch a few if you don't have time to watch them all, and get on with the rest of your day and whatnot. Kind of similar to the length of a lot of anime and a lot of other animated series out there, 20 minutes or whatever, but there was some that kind of fell right below that and whatnot. So a lot of cool stuff going on there. And some of the positives I want to give this right off the bat, because it's mostly all positives here, I will say, is the animation and the overall visual style of this series definitely falls in line with what they did previously with Clone Wars and Rebels, but they definitely stepped up their game a little bit because the animation in this thing is next fucking level. It is top notch, man. Like some of this, I don't know, man. Like especially like the last episode there, episode 6 with Ahsoka Tano, when she's going against that Inquisitor and all that, and the fire and all the damage and all the stuff going on in the background. It is so breathtaking, man. Or the scene where they show a quick flash of Padme's funeral from episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, back in '05 there. Love the way that they animated that. There's just so many great animated sequences throughout this thing. Or even the part where Yaddle has like the doors closed in on him on Count Dooku when he goes full on dark side, and she ends up stopping him midway with the Force and lifting him back up and everything, and with the sunset in the background there. I think they're on Coruscant. It's a beautiful sight, man. There's so many great visuals in this series that are going to go on to stand the test of time, I feel like, in the overall Star Wars fandom, especially also the origin of Ahsoka Tano's birth and her rite of passage and all that in the very first episode was really well done, and they do such a great thing with the visual style of the particular alien race that Ahsoka Tano comes from, and getting to see all those different people from her past and all that stuff, her mom and the local elder lady, which person, whatever, you know what I'm saying? It's all good stuff there, and I really, really enjoyed that. And when it comes to the overall pacing and the overall action that they do in this thing, it definitely takes its time to tell a story. It definitely takes its time to, get into what's going on and what they're setting up for the overall episode. And they're all kind of their own self-contained stories. So the pacing is really, really awesome because, like I said before, it's only 15 to 20 minutes, like tops. So you get some nice quick in, quick out adventures, some really nice different shades of characters you never got to see before. And that's another great thing I love with this series in particular here is the character development of Dooku and Ahsoka Tano. Ahsoka Tano has gone from literally one of the most hated characters in Star Wars since freaking the Ewoks and Jar Jar Binks to literally one of the most beloved characters, a la Luke, Han Solo, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. So it's really awesome to see the 180 and the overall evolution of that character of Ahsoka Tano and what Ashley Eckstein was bringing to the role in the animation realm. And she got to do a lot more here, man. And we got to see some very poignant and important times in her life throughout the 3 episodes that are solely focused on her. And I really, really dug her episodes actually a lot more than the Dooku ones. Or not a lot more, but a little bit more. Minus the first one. I like the last 2 definitely a little bit more. Or actually, I'll say this: the Dooku stuff I liked more than the first 2 Ahsoka episodes, but the last Ahsoka episode where she ends up being in hiding in the middle of the early days of the Empire after Order 66 has gone down, and she has to use her force powers or force sensitivity to try to help this kid from getting smushed by all this cargo or whatever. That episode, I thought, that came in with the Inquisitor and all that stuff, I thought that was better than literally all the rest of the episodes. But I will say the Dooku episodes definitely were more interesting from start to finish than some of the Ahsoka episodes were. And I really, really appreciated getting to see a young Qui-Gon Jinn as just a Padawan and all that stuff, and getting to see him and Dooku work back and forth. And it's a little bit of a bummer that we couldn't get the great legend himself, Christopher Lee, to come back and do the role. But as as some of y'all might already know, and for those of you that don't, now you will, he has unfortunately passed away within the last couple years, so we don't have Christopher Lee up in this thing reprising his role. But I thought the voice actor that they did get for the role did a great job and definitely fit the vibe of the character, that regal, European accent kind of thing that he has going on. I thought he did a great job there, and getting to see his real descent to the dark side and getting to see him and Palpatine really working together as a Padawan and a master was actually very, very interesting. In the whole Rule of Two thing going on, when he's all, my new Padawan, rise. You know what I'm saying? Getting those straight up Revenge of the Sith vibes right there. Loved all that. And really getting to explore that character and kind of more of what really drove him to want to go down that dark path was very much appreciated it in the simple fact of the senators weren't doing their job, The Jedi Order was definitely arrogant and not really trying to get to the true blue justice of what the Jedi Order really stood for back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And getting caught up in all the politics and all the arrogance and the blindsidedness of what the Jedi and what the overall political spectrum was at the time. At the time in the prequel era. It was so interesting to me, and it was really cool to get to explore that in this format where you get in, you get out, and you move on, you know what I'm saying? And getting to see more of Yaddle, as I mentioned before, was pretty cool getting to see her hop into action, and we kind of got a fight with her and Dooku that was very reminiscent of Yoda and his fight in Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, back in the days, man. 02 right there. 20th anniversary this year of Attack of the Clones, guys. Can you fucking believe it? If I would have got a chance to do it before, I would have actually did a solo video on that. But that'll have to be a topic for another day. But it's crazy to think that I was in the theater at 7 years old going to see Attack of the Clones. Crazy shit, man. 21 years later. Who knew? 20 years later. Who the fuck knew, man? 7 going on 8. Now I'm 27 going on 28 within the next few weeks. Crazy stuff, guys. Full circle shit, man. Full circle shit. But yeah, man, I really dug all that. And like I said, really enjoyed getting to see Ahsoka Tano back in action, back in the fray, getting to see her show up at Padme's funeral and everything, kind of tying her into the Revenge of the Sith was really, really cool. And between that and the last season of Clone Wars, kind of bridging the gap between episodes 3 and Order 66 and all that, and really fleshing out that whole entire thing, and showing you where the character was and what sent her off on her journey into becoming Fulcrum and helping out the rebellion later on down the line, 9-10 years later or so. So really awesome getting to see the way that they tied all this stuff together and the way that they just flesh out the canon just enough without making any contradictions, without raising a lot of questions and things like that. So I thought they did a great job of fleshing out the characters, fleshing out the prequel era in a way that is satisfactory, in a way that does make a difference, but it's very much a side quest in the overall Star Wars canon. If you're a huge fan like me, day one, you watch everything, you consume everything you can, you know what I'm saying? This is definitely something that's going to be fun for you, very rewarding, and actually is going to enhance the prequels a bit when you go back and watch those, especially the first 2 episodes in and of itself, because there was no Ahsoka back then, and we barely got any Qui-Gon and Count Dooku, so it was really cool getting to see those characters fleshed out and getting to see Ahsoka really come into the forefront of that prequel, of the prequels in the movies of themselves, as opposed to just the Clone Wars. So really cool to see the way they fleshed that out. You get a quick, you get a little bit of that Sam L up in there as Mace Windu. You get a little bit of an Anakin cameo as well. So that was really awesome. And of course, as I mentioned, And they actually have a name drop of Obi-Wan Kenobi when he had just become Qui-Gon's Padawan, when Qui-Gon was just fresh at becoming a Jedi Master in his little exchange with Dooku. So really cool to get to see all of that stuff. Yeah, the only real negative I have for this particular series is I do think the first Ahsoka episodes aren't necessarily the greatest, and I think they could have picked some more interesting. I like getting to see her origins and kind of the beginnings of her character literally in her life in the first episode. But I thought the second episode they could have picked something a little bit different and more interesting to kind of flesh out her character more, because we got a lot of interactions with her and Anakin training and all that stuff in the Clone Wars, at least from what I remember. So I did think they could go into a different, more interesting area in that particular episode. But overall, I was very much satisfied with this series. I didn't have super high expectations going into it anyway, so it definitely met my expectations. It was a good time. Like I said, definitely that side quest. If you just want all the trophies for all my PlayStation users, you know what I mean? If you want all the achievements, all that good jazz, this is definitely something you should put on your watch list for all my diehard Star Wars fans. But if you're more casual, you just kind of like watching the movies and checking in on Mandalorian or one of the series every now and again, not necessarily something that's going to be like something you have to get to immediately, but I do recommend it for all Star Wars fans, no matter how casual or whatnot. But just know it isn't necessarily going to be super compelling, life-changing stuff. But for you diehard fans, I think it's definitely going to be something for y'all. It's something that's definitely going to only enhance your your experience when you go back and watch the prequels. So it's a damn good time. I give it a 7 out of 10. It's solid, good, entertaining stuff. Really, really dug that last episode with Ahsoka Tano, especially, and that was more of the tone I wish that the Inquisitors were in, or the Inquisitors had in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series. So definitely got a little bit more of that fix here. But it looks like animation seems to be the best place for the Inquisitors. But what says you out there? Let me know what you thought about this series, man. Let me know what you thought about it in the comments below. Did you love it, hate it, fall somewhere in between? Is this your favorite animated project in the Disney era of Star Wars, or would that be more Rebels or even Resistance, something like that? Let me know what you're thinking about it, and let me know how excited you are for the upcoming live-action Ahsoka Tano series. I'm super hyped to see Rosario Dawson take on the role, get to lead the charge in full episode links. It's going to be really cool to see all that stuff go down. Natasha Luberdizo, Hera's coming back, Ezra's up in this thing, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Can't wait for season 3 of this show right here, The Mandalorian, dropping in February. So don't you worry, y'all. We're going to be covering all the Star Wars content to come in 2023, but that's essentially wraps it up right here, guys. That's going to be it for Star Wars content in the year we are in of 2022. It's been a good time, man, and we got plenty more of content to be coming on the channel. Some more niche movies, man. You know what I'm saying? We got the rest of Andor when we're talking about the world of Star Wars. So make sure y'all don't go anywhere, man, and click that subscribe so you don't miss a thing. But until we see you again, y'all, make sure you stay tuned, don't sleep, much love, and may the Force be with y'all always.